Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 704 Saturdays, your new place for college football. We'll get straight to it, just introduce ourselves. My name is Tommy Lechione. I'm a former videographer at LSU, and I'm a current student, and now I can officially say it, videographer working creative media for the University of South Carolina. So I would definitely say fan of both South Carolina and Beamer ball, and of course BK Takeover. The Bayou Bengals. And I grew up a Miami Hurricanes fan, so I'm probably just like your worst nightmare when it comes to college football.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much true. I'm down a little different alley. My name's Garrett. I am a college football player, D1, by a technicality. I am a tryout long snapper at the University of North Carolina. Currently, your favorite third string long snapper in the game, y'all. And before I went to Carolina, my dad grew up in Athens, big dogs guy. But of course, now all about the right shade of blue, baby. That's me.
I'm Ethan Mikowski, student equipment manager at Charlotte, UNC Charlotte, 49ers. Ohio State fan when it comes to football. And yeah, let's get it rolling.
Man, let's get straight to it. G, you want to take us into that off-season recap?
Absolutely. So this past season, man, we had a good one. There were surprises. There were Cinderellas. Tennessee came out of nowhere. They came out of the 90s, man. Peyton Manning reappeared at their games. It was crazy. TCU had a great year, but the big bad empire won the day. Georgia, the number one the whole way through, pretty much. A little bit of ups and downs. We don't talk about Missouri. Did a great job and just continued. I think this season was the Empire Strikes Back. We might see a new Jedi in town next year. But now we're time for things people don't know a lot about. It's an interesting time in college football land, baby. It's the off season. So let's dive right in. What happens with the equipment team in the off season, Ethan? Take us through it.
So let's see. We finished our season the week before Thanksgiving. Uh, we were going through some coaching changes. I'm not gonna get too into it. Just a lot of that has to stay in house. But it was a very different adjustment period. So kind of just getting acclimated with the new coaches, getting transfer guys in, getting the early signing day guys in, kind of just adjusting to whatever the new coach wants. Uh, right now, it's just kind of lifts, waiting for spring ball to start. And I know, Garrett, I'm not sure quite when you guys start, but I know ours is going to be in the next couple of months. We'll have our spring game in April, I believe. And yeah, so kind of just vibing right now, not too stressed out. So yeah.
Yep. Fun times in paradise. Fun times in
Oh yeah.
paradise. Now, Tommy, we're going to go over to you. Now, recruiting is a big part of the offseason. A lot of coaches are on the road. They're putting in crazy hours. But at the same time, you got to be ready for those official visits. How and what does the film crew do to get you guys ready?
So, I mean, I can only speak on my experience at LSU, just now getting into it at South Carolina. But one thing that a lot of people don't know is when you're in a big department, you're doing not just football. So, right now a lot of the focus is basketball. A lot of the focus is getting ready for baseball, but football still being the main moneymaker of college sports, you got to keep a big emphasis on it. So I know for at LSU when recruits came, they would, go in the room, get fitted up. And not only, everyone loves the pictures, but, there were some great videos, cooking up the gumbo, holding the national championship trophy. Look, kids love mixtapes. Like, everyone has a mixtape. It does not matter how good, how bad you are. Everyone has a mixtape. So it's really
Yeah.
just, making that connection that, if you can show those kids, quality content, it will, help translate because they'll go, oh, I want to play there because, I'm going to get, something crazy. If I do something crazy, they'll have it. So,
Yeah.
you're a little all over the place, but, you're still trying to harness in on, keeping the money rolling with football.
Yeah,
Gareth,
absolutely.
what's the
Hey,
player
man,
lifestyle like?
dude, first I have to say I might have to get me a little mixtape of the scout team highlights, baby. Got a
I
couple
got you.
at tight end this year. But anyway, we're not gonna play too much with that. But dude, what do players do in the offseason? I can tell you this: it is not kick your feet up and chill. I don't want to like go too crazy, reveal what we're cooking up in the lab. But I will say this: we got a lot of workouts. We're hitting the weight room heavy. We're hitting it strong, heavy. We're doing a ton of reps, ton of volume, focusing on power. We've got conditioning going on right now, so we're doing a bunch of different stuff on the field for that. And then you got to have competition, baby. It's all about compete. It's all about the fourth quarter. It's all about winning the game, winning the day, winning the rep, winning every day that you go in. It's all about competition right now. So what the offseason is doing for players, coaches, and obviously the rest of the staff is really setting the foundations, right? It's the building blocks that take you to new heights, right? You establish the things that you see in the season right now. You establish it in January, you establish it in spring ball, and then you reestablish in summer and fall camp. But this is the early phases, man. When you see people making plays in December, right now, January lifts. That's where it comes from. Squat day. That's what we're all about. All right,
Absolutely.
Ethan, we're going to take it over to you. Let us know something about the transfers.
All right, so we're going to get into just recruiting, transfer portal, all the above. So to start, let's talk about Nebraska. They're definitely hitting that portal hard right now. They've gotten 12 players so far this offseason. 3 of those guys coming from Georgia, including the former #1 tight end and maybe one of the best tight end prospects that we've seen come out of high school in Eric Gilbert. They also have one of the top offensive tackles, or no, he was a number 33 player overall.
Yeah.
Then they got an offensive tackle. They got quarterbacks, wide receivers coming from a variety of Power 5 schools, including Georgia, Florida, Texas A&M, Georgia Tech. So they might be a force to reckon with in the Big Ten coming this season.
No, I'll
I'm
come.
not. I'm
Bring
not
it
going to be
back,
too worried about
run the
them.
dang ball.
Look, I'll come out and say it. Matt Rule's a winner. He's not in the NFL, but he's a winner in the college landscape. And look,
That's fair.
I'm a big old Nebraska hater just because I'm sick of the '90s. But the only good thing to come out of the '90s was Fresh Prince. And but I'm here to say Nebraska's going to be improving. They could be legit. Not now, but this is a program that I think is going to start to turn things around.
Yeah.
I
Give
mean,
Matt Rule 2 years in college. Going to be huge.
yeah. I don't think this year's going to be it, but definitely in the next few years, and especially once this Big Ten moves to a, no division format. Once we get USC and UCLA, which I'm not going to get started with that, but could be a weird look in the next couple of years.
Definitely.
Way too weird.
But next point, we got Jaden Rashada. He was committed to Miami, then signed with Florida, flipped and committed instantly. Then it all fell through right after signing day. He was supposed to be getting a $13 million NIL deal from the Gator Collective. Something happened. He said, I want out. So got his NLI released, and now it's up to whatever school wants him.
No, but I
So
noticed that a lot on signing day. Do y'all see like just kids flipping
there's
out
a
of
lot of
nowhere?
flipping. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and so a little more background on him was that he was a 5-star. He's from I think it's Pittsburgh, California. So he's a West Coast boy, #6 quarterback in the current class. And he was initially offered by Cal. And now that, like you had said, we're starting to see NIL playing a much bigger factor into these kids recruiting. We don't know what the impact will be in the future. And I'm sure Garrett's going to talk about that a little bit, but it's interesting to see how this will affect the rest of his recruiting, as On3 is predicting him to go to back to Miami at the moment.
Mhm.
But we also have TCU, Cal, Washington, and Arizona State all in the mix there too. So it's going to be a interesting next couple of months for him. See where he ends up, what NIL deal he gets, and how that affects other recruits.
Yeah, man, he just wanted to enjoy his spring. He didn't want to enroll early anywhere. He wanted to have fun at his prom, man. He was scheming the whole time. It was a planned move. It's a planned move. No,
Hey, $13 million is a lot of money for a freshman.
dude,
So
it is about the business, man. I
So
mean,
I don't blame him. If they said that they were going to promise this and they said no, I'd probably
Yeah.
leave too.
13 million at 18 years old is at any age is life changing. But
Oh
18,
yeah.
I just
dude.
I'm like, bro, you like, and Gare, I know you can, attest to this. Like, as a player, like, what are you gonna do? Buy clothes? Like, they hook it up. Like, I don't know what bro needs to play quarterback. Like,
I
Yeah.
mean,
13 mil, that's wild.
hey,
And
let's be real, man.
it's also worth noting that I believe it's his brother was a DB at Ole Miss
Mm,
and also just hit the transfer portal right before he decided to not go to Florida. So
potential pairing.
wherever he goes, I'd imagine that they get both of them.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. But Ethan, I'm hearing a little something from the top of the mountains in Boulder.
Is
What's
that
Dion
Oh
is,
up
yeah.
to?
is that my theme music?
That's his theme music. It's the luggage, man. It's Louis.
So we got Cormani McLean, number one corner in the 2023 class. We also got Dion, best corner in NFL history. Then we got Travis Hunter, number one corner in the 2022 class. They all just decided, let's go meet up in Boulder. So we got, one of the best athletes that we've seen come out of high school from last year. He had followed Dion to Jackson State. They both hit the plains and went up to good old Boulder, and now we get to see what's going to happen up there.
Yeah, we do. He threw out some interesting statements there about the best cornerback in NFL history. Definitely the best brand in NFL history. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
about the actual play on the field. No
I
doubt.
don't know. It
This
sounds
allegedly
like a
being
lot
right.
of people have him as the number one corner. And
Dude,
don't get me
I
wrong, hey,
mean,
he played for the Falcons for a long time. It's kind of hard to like him, but
yeah, I
yeah,
mean, he's a heck of a
numbers don't
player.
lie.
He's a heck of a ball player. But let's be honest here. We've got some other players, Revis. We've got some
Yeah,
other guys throughout history who are pretty good. We're not here to talk about the pros. We're here to talk about college.
fair
Tommy,
enough.
I think there's a move here that you're going to be excited about. Ethan, let him know.
Yeah,
Oh, believe me, I've been
South
known.
Carolina just got a big cornerstone in their in this rebuild that they got going on. They got Cam Pringle, the number one, pretty much consensus number one offensive tackle in the 2024 class. Just
Six,
committed to Shane Beamer
seven,
and the boys down there.
6, 7. That's a lot of kids.
I mean, he's from South
6'7".
Carolina.
Yeah.
Hey, Tommy, he's gonna have you guys. This is the cornerstone of that rebuild right now.
Oh, absolutely. And just as I've taken a little deeper dive into South Carolina recruiting, this 24 class, Beamer's really hitting hard. They just got a 4-star tight. We just got a 4-star tight end, 4-star quarterback. So getting good foundational pieces for this upcoming team, and truly Beamer's era, if you will, like fully his recruits, fully his team, fully his vision.
Yeah, and they're also leading for Nicholas Harbor. He's one of the top uncommitted players in the 2023 class. He's a absurd athlete. D end, I believe, just track star. He's faster than than most track guys right now. And hey,
No,
he's getting recruited by Bama and South Carolina. It sounds like are the last two.
and look, Beamer's a fun coach to play for, and as you think about this new era of recruiting, right? You know, kids are different. Kids are a lot
Oh, yeah.
different than they were even 5 years ago of just how you have to approach them. And I think Beamer is very equipped to handle that younger generation.
Yeah, he relates to the young guys.
Boys, I mean, you've made some interesting points here, but I'm going to come in here with a little bit of a counterpoint. Recruiting out of high school is fun and all, but might be a little old fashioned nowadays. You don't treat that boy right. You don't get him all the pedicures and manicures and all the face rubs he wants. He's out the door. So the next guy to pay him or, to offer him a better spot or everything could potentially take him. So it's like, great, we landed this good guy.
Yeah.
Now we have to recruit to keep him. So
I
it's
mean,
such a new, interesting facet of football, which we'll talk on later. But
Yeah.
I
just
mean,
throwing it out there.
great example with that is A.D. Mitchell.
Yep.
Stand out for Georgia the past 2 years. In the playoffs, he's had, 2 national championship rings in his first 2 seasons. Absurd. Then he also has 8 catches for 149 yards and 4 touchdowns. He's had a touchdown in every single playoff game that he's played in. but for some reason he said deuces, and he just went up to Austin and joined Steve Sarkisian and Quinn Ewers.
Hmm.
So it's
Landed
going
a
to
lot of
be
big guys out there in
yeah,
Texas.
they got
A lot of big guys. They got some
they
nice
got some
players.
pieces. They got some pieces out there, and they might be, they might be on the up. I know they've been saying that for years, but they got, two great receivers and Xavier Worthy and now AD Mitchell. They have Quinn Ewers, who I have my own personal feelings about, but
Yeah,
you
sorry,
know,
buddy.
you know, uh, it's football. College football is good when Texas is good.
Oh,
I will
absolutely.
say that.
I have this belief that college football is good when Miami's good, when Florida State's good, when Texas is good, when Southern Cal's good. Like, I want college game day just bouncing all over. As much
Yep.
love as I think all of us have for App State. Boone, North Carolina is not my dream destination to wake up on Saturday and watch college game day.
Now
Hey,
that's
that was
cool.
that was a fun game up there. I will say that.
Hey man, Boone's got an environment. I won't talk any smack on App State on any platform. They've got good guys up there, good coaches. We'll see them again next year. But dude, you guys have mentioned some pretty big time schools, right? Some schools
Absolutely.
with some boosters, man. They got some bread over there. Florida
Yeah.
State, Miami, Texas, USC, all better when college football is better. And there's something that came along that's making that a reality again. And that is NIL, name, image, and likeness. For those of you who don't know what it is, you've been living under a rock. So I'm not even going to explain it for you. But first of all, how does this affect players? Dude, it is a big impact at this stage. You still have guys who are traditionalists, and it's like, okay, I'm going to this school. I want to play for this coach and this scheme and whatever. And I'd say that's 80% of the guys, if not higher, if not 90. But there's like the very cream of the crop. There's like top 5-star guys, the guys who are really high sought after. I think that name, image, and likeness is becoming a big thing, because if you don't go to a school where you can be competitive with name, image, and likeness, it's like a big detraction. And Tommy raised an interesting point earlier, man. D1 athletes, you guys are getting hooked up with the swag. You got some meal plans. You got this and that. What do you need to pay? What do you need to pay for? What do you need to buy? Dude, you can find stuff to buy. I'm gonna just tell you right now, especially if you're an 18-year-old and 19-year-old kid, you're gonna buy your favorite shoes. You're gonna go out to the nicest restaurants. You're gonna be living a certain way, and that's pretty appealing. It's like going to
No,
the league in college.
I'm with you, Gary, that like, look, you can find stuff to buy, but what I'm saying is like 13 million, like, look,
Yeah, I mean that's
that,
absurd.
you
Yeah,
can set your family up and, for life. And I just think, if there's a website that has all the NIL tracking with it, a lot, even the top people, the Bryce Youngs, the CJ Strouds, right,
yeah.
aren't making 13 million off of
No,
NIL. So
yeah.
To
I
be
think we
fair, that
should.
was at the beginning of this, so they didn't really get the brunt of after this was all established.
Right. So what I'm saying is, I think it is a rapid growing thing. I don't necessarily think it's a problem. I just think we need a little regulation on it,
Yeah,
because
Completely agree.
it's it's just like, look, if this is going to turn into a money game, like, that to me kills the beauty and simplicity of college football. That's like, look,
yeah,
these kids are playing for nothing but like sheer will. Like, I don't want kids going to Michigan or Ohio State because they want the NIL money. I want kids going to Michigan or Ohio State because they want to beat the other team and they want to bully the other team.
Yeah.
yeah. I
I
think,
mean,
yeah. Go ahead, Ethan.
look at Texas A&M last year.
Exactly.
Insane recruiting class. Had, what was it, like 8 or 9 5-star players of the
Yeah.
30 at the 35 that there are. So like, and then we've already seen like 4 or 5 of them transfer
Yeah, and they didn't
because
make a
they
bowl
didn't get
game.
playing
Finish with
right. They finished with 4 wins this year. They
Yeah.
didn't make a bowl game. Half these guys didn't get playing time like they were promised. They lost to App State at home. They
not
lost
talk
like
about who they beat. Not talk about who they beat.
they had some struggles throughout the year, and now it's coming to bite them. So it's
Yeah.
NIL's it's gonna bite some teams.
Right now, it really is the wild, wild west. And there's kind of not a whole lot of rules. There's some programs that are trying to do things right. I think some schools are doing a really good job about it, trying to manage it well. in helping players out and trying to maximize growth. But money doesn't buy heart. You guys raised a great point. But at the same time, to say that money or name, image, and likeness is not a part of it would be to, that's absolutely not
no.
at this point. But the interesting part about this, and a lot of people have pointed out, is how is this going to change the landscape of college football? Tommy, you want to start us off?
I mean, yeah, I just think with boosters, like you said, with bigger schools having more money, it monopolizes college football. I think it really turns into, what donor, what alumni, who's going to present the most money to a lot of kids. And like we said with Texas A&M, I think that's only going to get you so far. I think if you go in, because what it looks like at Texas A&M is a culture of NIL and not a culture of winning football games and competing. A lot of it was how much are you getting paid, who's doing, who's got this deal, who's got that deal. And at the end of the day, whether you're, the Heisman caliber, quarterback, or, you're a backup, long snapper, you all are a part of a culture of winning. And it's like, if that culture, isn't winning number one, and like the money is what the money is, you're just going to have a bunch of Texas A&Ms, and then the portal's just going to get even crazier.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, Tommy hit it. It's going to be a lot of me guys depending on, where you're going. Like we did see like last year, like I mentioned before, Travis Hunter, he broke the mold. He could have gone to Bama or to really any school that he wanted to.
I mean, he was committed to Florida State.
Right, exactly. So he could have gone anywhere that he wanted to, gotten paid a ton. But that's the difference between a guy like, I don't know, half those Texas A&M guys and someone like him. He wanted to go develop and get good playing time. So he went to a school that, he could grow and that he could potentially bring to prominence versus a school that, was just going to be, oh, yeah, I'm just going to get, $4 million this year to be here and, not actually become a better player.
Yeah, definitely. I think that a lot of this is going to come down to, there's a bunch of money guys. But I think kind of how is this going to change the landscape of college football? I think with name, image, and likeness, we're going to see a period of time, like pretty much right now, maybe the next 2, maybe 3 years. I think by the 3 years, we're going to see some things. I think that right now it's going crazy. It's gangbusters. You see guys like CJ Stroud. It's like, oh, he's got a Lamborghini. No, he's got a Mercedes. No, he's got this, that. But the majority of guys on the teams, speaking as a walk on myself, the majority of guys on the teams, we're not seeing that. It's the top like 2%, 3 guys maybe on a team. And everybody else is kind of in the middle. So a lot of schools with these like name, image, and likeness collectives where everybody gets a little slice of the pie, everybody's bought in, I think is going to preserve the way of college football. I think that's going to be very helpful. Now, that's not to say that the Ohio State package is going to be a little bit better than the future James Madison package. Shout out them. But I think that you're just going to see a little bit of delineation. It's like, it'd kind of be like Premier League soccer, if you guys watch that. Where the top clubs with the most money, the Manchester Cities, the Newcastle, all that sort of stuff, they're going to be at the top with like, okay, they're pulling in the most 5-star guys. And then it kind of trickles down from there. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. It's kind of what we see in the past with college football.
Garrett, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Just, and I don't want you, obviously we got to keep details out of it, but just, for a guy like you being in a locker room, if one guy were to have such a different lifestyle than the rest of the team, or, so much money, and so much NIL that it's just like, everyone else is rocking out with like going to this, team chef, but this guy's got his own thing. This guy, do you think that can negatively impact the culture, or, do you think it's the money, or it's how the money is handled?
I think that you made a really good point there at the last part of it. I think a lot of it is how the money's handled. Kind of on a team, you have an understanding about the guys, right? So you've got a large group of the guys who are grinders, who are there, not saying that everybody on the team works hard. There are a bunch of guys who might not be as athletically gifted, but are there to, walk on, pay their way through their education and play on the football team because they love football. They want to be a part of the team, whatever reason it may be. Then you've got a bunch of guys who are scholarship guys, but not like maybe they're fringe starters. Maybe they're not starting yet. Maybe they're like starter, but it's kind of like not going great so far, whatever. Then you've got your big time starters, then you've got stars. And I'm really fortunate to be in an environment where we have a great team chemistry. Like a couple stars on our team, great down to earth guys, hang out with everybody. It's not a factor. It's fantastic. I think that has a lot to go with leadership on our team, both from players and coaches. But as far as how the money's handled, if you've got a guy who's rolling in bread, let's say a quarterback, let's use the example of CJ Stroud, air quotations. I'm not saying CJ is this guy at all, but yeah, let's use the CJ Stroud air quotations, right? He's got his Mercedes G-Wagon. He's got a whole bunch of money coming in. His offensive line has diddly, right? For the most part, they're not going to be raking it in like that. That will just kind of breed resentment in the locker room. If one guy's going in, splashing out, doing this and that, he's going to the clubs, he's having a good time, he's got money everywhere, he's buying stuff for his parents, all that sort of stuff. That's going to breed a little bit of resentment if he's going to be flashy in that way. I haven't experienced anything like that, but that will breed resentment in a team, and I think that can kind of show you a fractured locker room. Obviously, Ohio State wasn't like that. They made a great run this year.
Yeah. Y'all, as we enter into the next season, we got a lot on the line. A lot of big-time programs are kind of searching for a little bit more identity offensively in the quarterback position. We got some big quarterback battles going on at Ohio State, Alabama, and Georgia, and just going to break that down real quick. So obviously, you're losing a big time guy with Ohio State and CJ Stroud, absolute stud, great leader, and you're left to two guys. You got one kid, Brown, he's a good dual threat. He's been there for a while. And when all media reports came out of him throwing at open media practice at the Peach Bowl, they said he looked really good. Then you got McCord, who everyone says kind of has that leg up. The coaches like him. He's an experienced pocket passer. He's been there for a while. He can scramble, but definitely the one they see as an accurate quarterback. A big thing with that is Marvin Harrison Jr. And him were high school teammates. And, I think let's not pretend like chemistry is not a factor. I think that's a big thing. That's definitely a matchup to watch. Then you got with Alabama, you got Jalen Milroe versus Ty Simpson. Now, look, we all saw it, the incredible run of Jalen Milroe against Arkansas when Bryce Young went down, really keeping them in that game and, eventually ballooning the lead and running away with it. He looks good, but a lot of Alabama fans have come out and said that they like Ty Simpson. He's a competitor, but he's untested. He's more of a pocket passer guy. I know senior year he finished with 41 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, so definitely really accurate with the ball. But, that's going to be a really big, interesting matchup to watch, especially in the spring game. Personally, I think it's too early to tell. I mean, Alabama doesn't know who their coordinators are. They don't know what schemes they're going to run. I think this is setting Alabama back a little bit.
Yeah.
Next up, we got Georgia. It's really, really unclear, but, this begs the question when you have a guy like Stetson Bennett, no shade, but when you got the athletes around him like that, does it really matter who the quarterback is? All Kirby has come out and said is that he wants a really mobile guy, maybe try to run the ball a bit more. And, the next guy they're looking up is Carson Beck, who they've all kind of compared to Jake Fromm, but, nothing against Jake Fromm, but, wasn't this incredible arm talent that he was built up to be. And now y'all, want to take us down south to a little area where I get to be a hater, and I love it. The Ole Miss quarterback situation. Now look, Ole Miss, I'm going to paint y'all a picture. Y'all ready? Ole Miss comes into the season 7-0, right? They're looking good. They're number 7 in the country, riding high. And they take a little trip to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And they face the Louisiana Grim Reaper himself, Harold Perkins. They face Jaden Daniels. And they fall apart. After the LSU game, they only went on to win one game, right? Including a treacherous bowl loss to Texas Tech. Now with that, we had Jackson Dart finished the year with 20 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. But all of a sudden, you bring in two quarterbacks. You got Spencer Sanders, proven winner at Oklahoma State. You know, they didn't execute the way a lot of people thought they would this year. A more accurate quarterback, had a higher QBR throughout the season. And then they also bring in a kid from Illinois. You know, and I want to hear y'all's thoughts on it of, you know, really what you got.
Ethan, kick us off, man.
So I'll go back to the Ohio State part for a second. Yeah, I feel like they're gonna end up with McCord. You know, you have your star receiver in Marvin Harrison. You got to keep that chemistry going. And McCord played in a game this year, and he showed out. I mean, granted, it was against Akron, but he still showed out. And, you know, I think that he's going to be the guy that they take. And then I wouldn't be surprised if Devin Brown ends up transferring somewhere because, you know, that would put him – well, McCord would have 2 years of starting. Then that would put Brown with potentially 1 if he stays through his senior year. And then whoever the freshman is, which I believe is some kid from North Dakota. But yeah, I mean, I feel like you got to go with the chemistry that you got there.
And what do y'all make of the Ole Miss situation?
Well, I mean, I can speak a little bit to that. That's interesting, man. I mean, that is plain interesting.
Lane ain't happy.
You've got the Lane train rolling. Dude, it's almost like a case of too many chefs in the kitchen. You've got like 4, I think, potential D1 starters in. You've got Spencer Sanders. You've got Jackson Dart, who we touched on. We've got 2 other kids we haven't touched on. You've got Walker Howard, LSU QB transfer.
Oh,
and you've got Luke Adelmeyer, right? Who's been in the system for a little while and who I thought going into the season might be the guy. He's a good quarterback. No shade at all. Was kind of competing with John Rice Plumlee. Plumlee obviously ended up leaving and going to UCF. But man, is that interesting. I really don't have a feel for Walker Howard, kind of what kind of quarterback he is, what he looks like. I know Tommy's going to be a hater because he left LSU.
I'm not a hater. He was a good kid. You know, he's from Lafayette, but, you know, never saw anything of him. So no comment, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I think this is one that has to play out. Spencer Sanders has been a dude at Oklahoma State.
Oh, absolutely.
He's been a dude. I think last year was probably his worst year at Oklahoma State. So he's looking to change it up. He's looking to switch it up. But those are kind of my thoughts. I don't think anything – I think they're almost going to have a problem of being overloaded at that position. It's going to be hard to choose. You've got 4 guys who are pretty good. It's like you only have maybe 2 sets of 1 quality receivers in spring ball. It's going to be hard.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see you know, 1 guy start the year, has a bad game, next guy comes in, has a bad, like, I know in what year was that? 2016, I think it was, when Ohio State had JT Barrett and 12 Gauge, what was his name? Cardell Jones, yeah. When they had both of them playing at the same, like, if one guy wasn't feeling it that day, next guy had to step up. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see something like that. Although I feel like
and Justin Fields, man, poor quarterback management kills a team.
Yeah, and that's my ultimate thought on it all is, look, you got 4 kids who are all, you know, able to play the quarterback at, you know, Power 5 Division I level. I don't think this is a good look, in my opinion. You know, something that needs to be brought up is Ole Miss had 20 kids leave. That is the most kids hit the portal out of any school in the country. They fell off the rails.
Didn't A&M have more?
I believe Ole Miss. I know Ole Miss had 20, and I saw somewhere that they were like number 1.
Okay.
And I know I can be a hater, especially when it comes to the SEC West that is in LSU. I don't think Lane's the guy. I don't think Lane is this incredible talent. He's cheaped out on a lot of places, including Tennessee. I think this is a really bad look. You got a really talented kid in Jackson Dart, and he's young. You know, best case scenario is you have Spencer Sanders for a year, and then it's pick up the pieces again. We saw them do this last year where, you know, they bring, you know, Jackson Dart comes in, and they didn't announce a quarterback till right before the season. I think
Yeah.
too many mind games with kids like these, Dart, obviously slumped at the end, but, was riding high for the first 7 games.
I don't even, sorry to interrupt you, but I don't even
No,
think
you're good.
they announced him until 4 games in because they were going back and forth between Dart and Adelmeyer, I think. So it was like, it was open season out there.
Yeah. And I don't think I think of all positions to switch up, the quarterback is not one. I want a consistent guy from day one. If they don't get the job done, if they get hurt, you know, I'll say when it came to LSU, because that's something I can apply it to. I at first wanted Nussmeier, but I didn't want them to play both. I was like, give me one or the other. And, to BK's credit, and to the staff's credit, they knew what they had in Jane Daniels. And, look, was Nussmeier showed out in spots for him, with just being able to, come up and compete in the SEC championship. He looked good in the Citrus Bowl. Nussmeier's talented, and look, it's open in the offseason, but throughout the season, I want one guy, and that's the guy. All right, y'all. Another big thing we've been seeing is just quarterback position battles all across the board. But, instead of guys recovering a program, we have a current guy and a new guy coming in. Two big schools that, I want to highlight for us are Tennessee and Texas. So Tennessee, right, you had an amazing season by Hendon Hooker, sadly ended in a torn ACL. And then you bring in a guy like Joe Milton from Michigan who, comes up big for him, lights up Vandy, and then, performs exceptionally in the Orange Bowl. Then you bring in a guy like the Nico kid. I'm blanking on his last name. I know Ethan would most definitely know it and know pretty much everything on it.
Nico,
I am
let's
Lee
pull the
Oliver,
Tua
like
Tagovailoa rules. He's Nico I.
Yeah, he's Nico I, DJU,
Nico I.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you got two great competitors there, right? One kid who people are billing as a generational talent versus a guy who's a proven winner, who is electric in the pocket. Two great arms. So I just want to know what y'all make of that.
Dude, I watched the Orange Bowl. It was cool. I gotta say, dude, seeing Milton sit back there and flick a ball 60 yards on the money, like flick it. I was like, dude, I mean, he's got a cannon. His first touchdown was a post on the backside, right on the back line, over a linebacker, around a safety, on the money, and he sent it about 100 miles an hour. He's like Cam Newton if Cam had mechanics. Dude, it's exciting. He doesn't run nearly as well, but he's got that kind of Cam Newton arm strength, man, with mechanics. So his arm's not going to fall off if it gets hit by TJ Watt. But I think that it's going to be an interesting one. If I'm the coach, dude, Joe Milton is my guy after that game. We're going through spring ball with him. Unless Nico shows up and is the second coming, I think I'm rocking with Joe Milton. Nico sits a year. Joe goes to the league. Nico's my guy.
That's a great analysis.
I'm thinking pretty much the same thing. I feel like Joe, he's coming off of a high right now. You gotta ride the wave with him. See how he does. If he doesn't turn out well, throw Nico in. It's fine. But worst case, that's the worst case. It's Nico having to play his freshman year. Yeah. I know he got to go down during the Orange Bowl. I know he was practicing with the team, and apparently he was looking pretty good. But I'd still roll with Joe Milton, and then again, worst case, throw him in halfway through the season.
Dude, that is a pretty sweet worst case scenario. But didn't touch on Texas yet. Tommy, what are we thinking?
Well, the stars at night are extra bright deep in the heart of Texas. You got a guy, I'd say the last two guys who have been billed as like the quarterback are surprisingly ended up at the same school. You got, the mullet man himself, Quinn Ewers, the Texas native. And you got, the purest bloodline of quarterback in Arch Manning. You got two guys who have been, billed as the next big thing, right? Competing, And I think it's interesting. I think, in my opinion, I think we all are in consensus that with Tennessee, it's Joe Milton's the guy, and unless Nico does something, I didn't see it from Quinn Ewers this year. I didn't see this, dynamic, oh, wow, like, I'm so wild. And, like, I'll give him credit. Technically, this was his true freshman season of action where he should have been. But I'm leaving open season. These are two guys to me, and, this may be where I sit my haterade. Two guys who I think both need to prove it. If they're going to be billed as this big thing, both of these guys need to prove it. And I think it's going to be really, really interesting. What are y'all thoughts?
Dude, you touched on it. The pedigree, man, on Arch Manning. It's like, dude, that's hard not to like. There you got some haters in there who are like, dude, he shouldn't be no 5-star because it's just his daddy's name and all that sort of stuff. But I mean, he's a good quarterback. I think anybody who's watched the film is like, he's a good quarterback. He can make throws. The thing that I have not seen from Ewers is that dog. I think it kind of showed up against Oklahoma, and Texas absolutely ran through him. But dude, I mean, he went to Ohio State, then he left, then he's at Texas, and it's like, I don't know, he just doesn't like exude like he cares. I'm a big heart guy. I like to see it when people are into it, and it's kind of like, I don't know, he has all the ability in the world. He'll make an amazing play every game, but it's like it's not consistent. And when he throws a bad play or interception, he kind of just jogs off the field. It'll be interesting to see if maybe the competition can push him, or maybe Arch Manning's that dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to see both of them play because when I saw Arch's highlights, yeah, he was making throws, but he was also in one of the I think he was in the second smallest or second lowest division in Louisiana football. So I'm not, or whatever state he was in. So I'm not. I mean, he was making plays, but he was also making plays against guys that weren't getting recruited.
Who else from those high schools?
Yeah, and look, Newman High School is a great high
that's
school.
that's what I'm saying. I need to see him play first. I'm not just going to be like, oh, there you go, he's playing.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to see. I want to see how he does. I do think that Ewers deserves to. I mean, like I said before, I have my own personal opinions about him because NIL is definitely his preferred method of I guess resources and not caring about playing, as that's the whole reason why he decommitted from Texas in the first place, and then why he left Ohio State. So
yeah,
I need to see him more. I guess in the big games. I want to see him. I don't know who they play at the start of next season, but I'd imagine that they have at least one big out of conference game.
Yeah.
So I want to see how he does in that, and then from there, again, like I said with the Nico situation, whoever plays better at the time.
Yeah, I think that one you leave kind of open throughout the season. And what I'll say about Arch is, I got 1 point for him and 1 point against him. My point against him is, like you said, he played 2A football in Louisiana, and living in Louisiana, I know a little something about the football culture there. The private schools are, the big deal schools there, and Arch wasn't playing against Catholic high school. He wasn't playing against St. Thomas More, where they have guys that are 5-stars there. His team wasn't playing against there. Newman's seen great prospects, obviously his family lineage, but also Odell Beckham Jr. went there. So, obviously it's a high caliber program, but they weren't playing the cream of the crop in Louisiana. What I will say, and what I think bodes well for Arch in this situation, is Arch is unlike the modern mold of recruits we see nowadays. We never saw him post visit pictures. We never saw him post offers. We never saw him. He literally, his commitment post was like, I am committed to the University of Texas, #hook 'em. Like he's not a big Twitter guy. He's not a big NIL guy. He posts his updates on on the LinkedIn account, which was awesome. Like I'll give cool. Arch a lot of credit, because personality is the thing that matters most when it comes to the quarterback position. So I would say with that, Arch is a guy that, you really he has the leadership quality to be the next guy.
Definitely. Yeah. One more point with that was even his stats weren't like the top of the top, like that you expect to see out of, that top quarterback. So, and I know knowing how recruiting works, where, it's typically I have an offer from Bama, I'm automatically going to be, one of the top guys in the class. Like that, even if 24/7 and all those deny that that's what happens, we see how relevant that is. So I do believe that he does have, that, I'm a Manning, so I get the credit. But I still do definitely believe that he can be, just like his pedigree. I think he can be that dude. But again, still want to just see it before I believe it.
And y'all, it sadly is that time, the end of episode 1. But got something great for us. The way, way, way too early top 4. Hot takes coming in. You can say the most ridiculous thing right now and be right. So, Gare, take it away. Give me your top
All right.
4.
Are we talking playoff number 4 or open the season number 4?
Playoff number 4.
All right. Well, my number 1 spot's taken. Undefeated throughout the season. Run the table. But okay. Besides that, let's go to 2 to 4. I think that we are going to see some interesting things in college football. There's going to be a team that nobody sees coming that's going to do well. I don't know who it is yet. Teams that I'm high on right now. LSU. BK's got him going in the right direction. I think that he's a winner. He's won a lot of places he's been. That's going to be interesting. I'm high on Georgia. I'm still high on Georgia, man. You got that defense, you got that run game, you got that offensive line. It's gonna be hard to mess it up. You've got USC out west. I'm not super high on them. Texas, not super high on. So if I'm gonna put it together today, I'm gonna say you've got Ohio State or Michigan. I think it's Ohio State's turn this next year. You've got the SEC champion and probably another SEC school. Let's say it's LSU champion, Georgia loses in the championship game they're in. So I've got my number 1, Carolina Blue. I've got, let's say LSU, Ohio State, Georgia. Let's go over there.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Wow.
You hate me because I'm right.
beat Georgia Tech. We're caught. You're losing week 1. I said beat Georgia Tech. You're losing week 1, Gare.
You don't let him talk to you like that?
No, I'm not. Here's what I'm gonna say. I will let my actions speak louder than my words because I am on a surface where I'm able to have actions, unlike most
I am
people.
not, and I own that. Proud of me.
All right, Ethan.
So I'm gonna have to agree. Georgia. I think that they still got the pieces there. They're gonna. I still think be one of those top teams. I see, just like you said, Michigan or Ohio State. It's gonna be whoever wins that game is gonna get in. Potentially the other one too. Really depends on what happens in the Big Ten championship game. I think Ohio State wins it. At least I'm really hoping that we can pull it off this year. But yes, I'm gonna go Georgia, Ohio State. I'm gonna go with LSU. I'll put them 3. And then it's definitely not gonna be Oklahoma.
No.
Could see a Texas, maybe, depending on who starts. I'm gonna put USC in there for now.
Okay.
I think that they're gonna be rolling off the Caleb Williams high still. They're still gonna have a lot of studs out there. They still have Lincoln Riley, who I don't think they'll do well in the playoff, but I think that they can get there.
Okay.
So
Absolutely.
I'll roll with them.
So your number 4 is actually my number 1. I think USC, although I don't think is going to be the best team in college football, I just think the way college football media is going to portray them is, they will run the table out west. They'll have the reigning Heisman, putting up video game numbers. I think they don't get tripped up by Utah or Oregon or anything like that. I think you put USC in mine. I'm putting USC 1. 2, give me the dog. I think Georgia's going to have another big year. Hopefully, as a fan, obviously would like to see them lose to South Carolina. Not that invested, to be honest, but I think Georgia's legit, and I think they'll stay legit. Number 3, this is where my brain goes out the window, and it just is all fan, and don't get it twisted with this Garnet. 3 letters, 2 colors, 1 state, LSU, baby. I think they are going to I think BK takeover, it's coming in, full force this year. And my number 4, this is my hot take, and this is where, it's a good thing we're ending the show with this because I can run away on the screen before y'all can tell me how dumb I am. Give me the Seminoles of Florida State.
Goodness.
I think Florida State is going to run the table. Well, not run the table. They're going to lose to LSU. But I think they're going to win the ACC and be a very legit team, a very experienced team. And look, ladies and gentlemen,
I know it's a virtual because he can say something like that, smile, and get away with it. All right, Tommy, take us to the outro.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all so much for watching. Hope y'all enjoyed. Please, just share this, like, subscribe, try and get this thing rolling. And we will see y'all in 2 weeks for episode 2, Coach Prime Edition. Give me my theme music.
Bring in the baggage, and it's Louie. Have a blessed day. Signing off,
Y'all
y'all.
take care.
See y'all.